Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Let's get this show on the road. So, we are now introducing your host for today, Neo Skinner. Hello. So, sorry, it's been a bit rushed to get everything sorted for this stream, because honestly, I've been trying to get the Twitch updates to work, so apparently it's worked now, so I'm happy. I might just have to lengthen out the intro a little bit or do something, but maybe I can look into that a bit later, but I don't mind for the moment it taking a little bit longer. Anyway, I haven't been going too long so far, so we are going to switch to this wonderful desktop once again. I'm going to check right at the start, see which one I'm on. So yeah, that's correct. So first of all, before we start, quick plug, Skin Technology Archive on YouTube. Go check it out. We've got 4 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload. And we will be uploading all of the live streams that you see, including this one, to the platform. So that's as of the last C# stream was the first one to get uploaded there, so there will be more uploaded shortly. So anyway, as you can see, I haven't bothered to update the intro screen or anything like that, because I don't have time at the moment to do things like that. So that's going to stay how it is for the moment, but I am looking into changing that at some point in the very near future, so look out for that when that drops. So first off, let's start off with a quick recap of what we did last stream. So we made our simple project. I need to work out where it is. Where did I put it? There it is. Right in front of my face. So let's navigate to that directory. And so last time we did this. So first okay, so first off, it obviously, you got something wrong. Hate to do it. There we go, right. Sorry, that's just me commenting. Right, let's try that again. So, our project currently looks like this. What's your name? My name is Neil. Hello Neil, I'm your virtual assistant, and it gets to current time. I'm not going to cover everything that goes into that, because that was covered in the last stream. If you want to check that out, it's on YouTube. So, for today, let's take a look at our code. So it says, what's your name? And then, hello name, I'm your virtual assistant. Now, we are today going to be working with more methods. So this is a method just here. Okay, so we're going to start off with this knowledge. So this is a method just here, and a method is basically a separate piece of code that can be run and called from this main method. So we're going to start off by initializing some things that can be used by all of the methods. So let's start off with that. So let's start off by creating a new string, and we're creating this just outside of the method. I'm going to call that name, and this is the first time you would have seen this, but we are actually going to give it a value of null, which means that it starts off without a value. Now, something you need to know about strings that are put up here, these are available to access from any of the methods. However, they do require a little bit of fiddling to get to work. So one thing that you have to note is that the value here can't be modified, but you can add things to it. So we're first of all going to go p.name, and we're going to add a plus symbol there. We're going to take off that string. Also going to do the same here, p.name. Okay, and let's check this out. I'll explain how it works in a little minute. Okay. So first thing, I'm actually going to copy a bit of code, but I will explain what it does. So this is our example bit of code that I showed you earlier. You can see we have our string name null right in there, right at the top like that. So because it's in the main method, we need to do a little bit to get it to work. So this basically initializes the program and puts it under the letter P. So we can call the program, which is the whole thing, using that. So let's now test that again. So it now acts exactly how it did before, apart from our name is now stored in this program class. So when you say that, it just relates to this program class just up here. So this is a class level variable, which means that it's accessible through all methods. Now we're going to do that to begin with. So now that we've got this, let's neaten it up to begin with. Okay. So we're going to add a command in here called console.clear, just like so. So I would like to first of all clear up a little bit from last time as well. So this console section just here, hopefully you're writing along with me if you want, start now. This console section, I just called it a category down here because you can think of it as a category, but it's actually, its technical name is a namespace. So those are namespaces which, of course, subcode, subselectors can sit in. So the clear namespace of console. So basically, clear the current console output. And then we're going to do the username prompt. And then let's say we want to clear the console again. We're going to add another bit in there. So let's see how that works now. If I can type the command correctly. So, what's your name? And you can now see you miss out the top line just here of console code. So my name is Neo. Hello Neo, I'm your virtual assistant. The current time is blah blah blah. And you can see the previous bit of code got deleted. That would have been here. So you can see straight away we've neatened it up a bit. So we want to get rid of this. What we would do is we would request user input. So basically you've got to always keep your program doing something in the background, otherwise the program will exit. In this case, so you can see obviously when we run it and when it requests read line, it doesn't automatically exit because it's looking for user input, it's seeking user input. But you can see because it only writes the line that's there to the console, it exits straight away because there's nothing else for the program to do, so the program has finished. So our next job, and I'm going to start this off in a way which isn't going to work to begin with, but I will explain later how we can get it to work, and we'll make it work. So string probably not a good string name, but I'm going to call it that anyway, because it's going to be a very long string name otherwise. So basically, string, where do you want to go? WD, Y, W, T, G. And it does what it says on the tin. Where do you want to go? Question mark. We're going to put a finger space in there. And we're going to put two ends at the start. Once again. So there's some separation there. So, where do you want to go? And of course that, we're of course going to go console.write line. I'm already, you can tell, just so you're aware, I have not been coding in C# for a little while, and I was actually teaching someone to code in HTML the other day, so I'm a little bit rusty. So if I correct myself at any point, don't worry about it. That's why. So then we're obviously going to want to list the user input. So let's log the user input. So let's create a new string called user input. And remember, we always have to start our variable names with a lowercase. String user input equals console.read line, two parentheses, and a semicolon. So, okay, let's see how the program works now. So we've introduced an extra step. So what's your name? Yeah. The current time is blah blah blah. Where do you want to go? So at this stage, we can then add some commands in, and the program can then run the commands and give you a certain output. So we could do a command like exit, and it will exit, or something like that. That command is like already hard coded at the moment because we haven't entered any commands. So next up, you guessed it, we're going to need an if statement. So this will be your first experience using if statements, okay? So an if statement compares two variables or two values, and so you can say if this variable is equal to this string or this variable, then run the following code. If it's not, run this other bit of code. That's the basic idea. So we're going to do if, and then we're going to write a pair of parentheses, and where we compare the two values is going to be in there. So if user input is equal to, let's code in a very simple command, help. And we must remember that our help command is surrounded by quotation marks. Okay, now we need braces for this, so just insert some braces in there. And now this is going to be our code that we're going to write when the user enters the input help. So we're going to run a string, and we're going to display some commands. You can add to this commands list, so it doesn't really matter what you put in here to begin with, but for the moment I'm going to write out commands. I'm going /n/n, so I'll put it on a new line. And the commands that we're going to do, help, of course, that goes for granted, /n. Let's go for contacts. Let's go for a simple game. Let's go for a... I'm trying to think of what else I integrated into my original program. I integrated a clock. and I integrated the exit command, just like that. Console.write line commands. There we go. So, let's give this one a go. So in theory it should now go, where do you want to go? Then if I enter help, then it will bring up a list of commands and exit. So let's give that a try. And you need a semicolon, because I'm an idiot and don't put them in because I've jumped between languages too quick. Let's try that again. Okay, so standard ordeal. Then where do you want to go? So, help. Let's go to the help page. You can see it lists some commands. Let's say we want to neaten that up. So let's introduce just in here console.clear. That will just neaten it up and put it on its own page. I'm not going to show that because that should be pretty obvious as to what that does. Okay, so now let's introduce an if-else statement. So, oh no, it's an else if. I'll get it right at some point. I'm just going to check. Yeah. So, this is going to say, right, if this is not, if the user input isn't help, what's it going to be? An else if allows you to add another if statement, basically. So you can say, else if user input is equal to let's do the clock next, because I'm trying to plan this out logically in a way that will actually work. So obviously for a clock we're going to need the variable I'm just going to call this date and time new. That's going to be equal to, you guessed it, date time now. Okay, so now that we've got our date time, we're going to want to put it all into a lovely string, which you can actually understand. So it's going to give us a logical output. So we're going to have lots of different variables for this. So our first variable that we're going to need is, of course, the standard time. So let's just add a variable called clock, and we're going to manipulate the date and time. And we're going to put it to the string hours, minutes, seconds. So hours, minutes, seconds. Okay, let's do another one. So variable, this is going to be the date and time new. Forgot to add the new in there, so there we go. Dot to string and what do we want to put that into? So we are going to want the date, so you can just do dd for that. In fact, it's only d, I believe, that you want. I'm going to check again. I think it's only d. Day is dd. No, day is dd. day. ED. You'll see why I'm doing this in just a second. Now you're going to want the extended day. Say for example, Tuesday. EXT day. Date and time new. To string. Always remember to close that off. D. And I'll show you what all of these are eventually, and I'm going to keep referencing that other project because otherwise I don't know which ones to code in. So next up, let's do the month. Again, same thing. Do string month, just like that. And next, and finally, the year. She's just going to represent as for what. So there you go. So you've got the clock, which is hours, minutes, and seconds. The day, which is the short day, so 03. You've got the extended day, which is something like Tuesday. You've got your month, which is something like March, and then you've got your year, which is something like 2021. So next up, we're going to assemble it. So we're going to want to create a string. We're going to name the string time. And we are going to include all of our strings in it. So, first off, we need to write a little paragraph. The current time is, and we want to insert our time. So, clock. And I'm actually going to put a... oh no, I don't need to just yet. Ignore me. So the current time is, then we're going to put the clock on the extended day, Tuesday, and then day of month, year. Next, console.clear, because we're going to make it look nice and clear the console. Then we're going to do a lovely console.write line once again, and we're going to write time. So like that. And that should get it looking nice for us. So our type of command is clock. Where's that? Where's the issue? 49. Error, a local parameter cannot be declared in scope because the name is used in the So we're going to have to use time full because we've already used time up here and we can't redefine it. My bad. We'll go through the code afterwards, so don't worry if you don't catch everything. So, what's my name? Yeah. Where do you want to go? Clock. The current time is 4:29:18 on Thursday, the 18th of March, 2021. There we go. We have our lovely clock. but you'll see it's exited. So how are we gonna fix that? Well, I'm going to introduce you to a brand new concept, which is creating more methods. Okay, which is also why I put the name up there. So let's make a new method. So type with me, public void. What are we going to name our method? I'm just going to name mine inputs. Parentheses, close parentheses, and braces. Just like that. We've created a brand new method. Now we're going to move all of this just here into here. Hello, Vlad. You probably missed some of it, but we're just working with new methods at the moment. Okay, so now we've moved all of our previous text and our previous code to a new method. So this means that after one command has run, we can then reference the methods. So what we're going to do is p dot, no, it doesn't need to be p. We're just going to write inputs with 2 parentheses and a semicolon. We need to watch the passwords. Didn't even see the first one. Oof. Yeah, you should probably check that, because otherwise this is going to be way too complicated. And we're going to reference inputs again there. You'll see what that does in a little bit. And now we need to reference it down here so it runs. So p.inputs and a semicolon. So now what's going to happen is once it goes, hello, I'm your virtual assistant, the current time is time, it's going to go p.inputs, which is then going to go up to here. Then it's going to go, where do you want to go? And you're then going to enter your user input, and once it's done that, and it's run the user input, it's then going to go all the way back to the top and go, where do you want to go? And it goes in a cycle like that. So let's test it once again. So, first of all, it's going to ask us once again for our name. Where do you want to go? Let's go to a clock. And you'll see now, instead of exiting, it just goes to a new where do you want to go statement. So we've got our clock right up there. So this allows us to enter multiple commands in there again. So help command. Now, the only way to exit it is just to actually enter a command that it doesn't recognise. So I'm just going to add exit. But the reason it doesn't recognise it is because we don't have an else statement. So an else statement is your closing statement in an if statement. So this basically says, well, if none of the other specified things are right, run this piece of code. And in this case, it's going to just be, we're going to write something else. So we're going to write a new string. It says Albion Mondays at the top because I haven't had time to change it because I don't have all the time in the world. But I'm hoping to fix that for next stream, hopefully, but I'm working on getting custom stuff. So, we're going to create a new string, and we're going to create a string called error. And our string is just going to say, sorry, I don't know that one, exclamation mark, new line, you entered, and then we're going to want to insert the user input just again in there. Now we're going to enclose this with quotation marks. So we're going to do that is, the way we're going to do that is use an escape character and then a quote mark, because otherwise it will recognise it as the end of the string and it will get confused and it won't like us. Print, then we're going to do a semicolon to finish. Of course, console.clear, parentheses, and that. By the way, do the emojis show off on your stream? It's just on the stream, so I can only see the emojis via your chat. Sad, but it means that I can carry on working whilst emojis come up on my screen, and it's not the most annoying thing ever. So we're going to then write the error, and then we're going to go back to the inputs one. Wow. Okay, and now we need a way to exit it, because obviously there's no exit command now, and it will just continuously loop. So let's do another else if statement. If user input is equal to exit, and then we're going to want to run this command, which is literally going to be console.clear, 2 parentheses, and a closing semicolon, which is basically just going to exit our program. Let's try that. So now, once again, it's going to ask us for our name, Neo. Where do you want to go? We want to go to clock, but obviously I spelt it wrong. It's going to pick that up and go, where do you want to go? And I'm actually confused now. Oh, I entered a finger space. That's why it looks great. Doesn't matter. So the only way to exit it now is using exit. So at the moment we've just created a basic program with a few inputs and a few outputs. So we've grabbed the user's name, we've stored that, and then we've made a string. So we've printed to the screen, hello, I'm your virtual assistant, and we've inserted in there your name. So you've put hello, name, I'm your virtual assistant. And then we've gone, the current time is time. And we've got the time previously from the string that we made right at the top. And so that's in there. And then it goes to our inputs method, where it goes, where do you want to go? So we enter where we want to go, and then it takes you to the relevant program. Now I'm going to call them a program very loosely because it's the correct piece of code, really. Git has a nice feature named similar commands, maybe implement that. Try typing git colon. I think you meant clone. Yeah, it does. I know about that. That's out of the spec of this video / stream, because this is meant for beginners, and obviously that's not really beginner stuff, so I'm teaching this in stages. And you will actually see that this is the end of this section of the stream with not that much more to do. So if we compare this to our example program, which is just here, let's go back and let's go to our example program. You can see it basically performs the same functions at the moment. We have what's your name? Neo. Hello Neo, I'm your virtual assistant. The current time is there. Where do you want to go? It's time. The current time is that on Thursday, the 18th of March 2021. You can see it's pretty much identical now. In the help section, the game will be available on here because I've just found out a way to do that, so don't fret about that. But it performs basically the same thing. So what you will be seeing next stream is the implementation of contacts and a game. Now the game I'm going to run through the code bit by bit, because that is actually a really great project. And then in the stream after that, we're going to be running through how to comment your work and how to make it look neat and tidy and all of the sort of things for that. And then after that, we will be looking at a few example programs that I've made that should hopefully help to solidify what you've done previously. So let's exit that. And we can close off our console because I'm just going to be commenting for the last section. So what have we learnt today? Well, we've learnt that you can create methods to endlessly I'm going to put for the moment separate bits of code. Separate sections of code and help readability, and also we also learned that purple is a very nice thing. Create looping code. So that's our first thing. Second thing, you can use variables across multiple methods. I'll get it right at some point. By declaring them in the class. So what else did we learn? By the way, this will be available afterwards, so don't fret about anything. So this is all, that's all standard. So you can use clear. So the clear command, which has the name which has the namespace of console, clears the console output. So next bit of code that we learnt. Setting a null variable declares it without adding content. And if statements. If statements can be used to compare two objects. If statements can be used to compare two objects and run specific code. I'm just trying to think if there's anything. You can call a method by typing its name followed by parentheses. That doesn't look right to me. That looks right. So, I'm going to leave that up because that is what we have learnt today. Just that. And I've just realised that I didn't switch to the right one. Why do I do these things to myself? But that's... I don't know, was there... Hold on. So that's the final bit of code. I'll have to review the footage and check. I think I introduced methods before, so don't worry about that. It's probably like a minor thing because I was just chatting over something, so yeah, don't worry about it. But it has a very similar function, so that's the first bit of code, and that's the second bit, and that is what we learnt today. So, I hope everybody enjoyed today's lesson. It focused on some more key concepts of coding. I'm actually as well working on a HTML course for people as well, so you'll be able to code in HTML as well soon. So that course will be available shortly after I've finished this one, but this one will be running for at least maybe 2 to 3 more episodes. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think yeah, I explained that at another point. I'm terribly sorry that I forgot to change my scene halfway through, but you can hopefully see from the code what's going on there, because I can't remember what point I changed my scenes across from, so I don't know. So, without further ado, your daily reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see when I upload next, and that's where this live stream will be available amongst others, so if you've missed anything, make sure to go and subscribe over there. And the last thing is, make sure to go and follow on Twitch as well. Little follow button down below if you haven't already. Really helps me out. And without further ado, hope you enjoyed this lesson. Goodbye.